In here, I wanted to show you a $225,000 outdoor living space, and I want to share with you some tricks on how we operate a deal like this. It is December 15th in Michigan, and it's starting to snow, but we're shooting this swimming pool. One thing we ran into this year that we never ever anticipated running into was a concrete shortage, and we weren't able to get concrete for 8 to 12 weeks here in Michigan. And one thing we had to do here is adjust. And one thing we did to adjust is, hey, it's a little chilly out here, it's snowing, it's not the best weather, but we're out here getting it done anyways. And this is very important to your success as a contractor. If you want to grow, you want to get to the next level, you need to learn how to plan and how to overcome, so to say, setbacks. You know, this concrete shortage, I would say, set us back about 10 to 12 weeks on this project, and it's something that I've never had to run into. And this is just one of the 12 projects that we had going on that were delayed or slowed down because of this concrete shortage. As a contractor, it's very, very important to have cash reserve and have money put aside for delays or issues that may slow up your cash flow. By not having this project able to get concrete, we weren't able to do a lot of the other things on this project. We got the forms, we got the rebar done, and we weren't able to get concrete. And what that was doing is that's holding up the rest of the project. Because after we shoot this shell, we got tile, coping, plaster, exposed aggregate, sod, sprinklers, and fencing that are all trying to come behind it. So if the main key component isn't done, it's going to delay the entire project. So one thing you always want to have, cash reserve. You want to have money set aside for a rainy or snowy day like today, where you have some disturbances or some setbacks in your business. And what I'm talking about, he's shooting the concrete today, it went up probably an extra 15% in material costs, and we have a project that's delayed 10 to 12 weeks. So it's very important to prepare and plan and make a shift in your business if you need to get to the next level. And what we're doing is we're improvising. We got a special mix in the concrete right over there. And what that is making us have the ability to shoot right now in cold weather. I think it's about 35 degrees, 32 degrees, probably right around 32 degrees. And they have a special additive mix in that concrete that allows it to cure and set up quickly so they can get it done in cold weather without having it to cure. Also, what we added is we added hot water. You can see the steam blasting out when he shoots that shotcrete. And what that steam does is it allows hot water in the mix so it doesn't get too cold too fast and that concrete can set properly. Very, very, very important. Now, at this time of year, we do pay extra money in fees with concrete, cold water, and then that, I think we're using like a sodium chloride in this mix to make sure it sets properly. That has all increased our costs. And on top of it, with the recent concrete powder shortage, we have also had to increase our costs just in the concrete alone. So this can be a very substantial amount of money as a contractor. You want to make sure you write good agreements and contracts to make sure you're covered when materials change, because ultimately we are providing everything A to Z for our homeowner on this project, but the only thing we can't provide is the shotcrete. That is coming from a local company that I have no control on their pricing. So you got to make sure you have contingency clauses and you have tough conversations sometimes if your materials have risen in price. So this is very, very important. But one thing we're doing here anyways is we're compromising, because what I had to outweigh on this project is the cost if I were to wait till spring. Number one, in spring, yes, concrete will be cheaper. Yes, labor will be less. And yes, it'll be a little bit easier to do. Overall, morale of the guys is going to be higher, and concrete's a little bit easier to work with in warmer temps. Not super hot, like 80, 90, but warmer temps. But I had to outweigh the cost if these forms were to collapse. They're already sitting here about 8 to 10 weeks. You do your forms, you do your rebar, and what happens every time it rains, that can collapse. And in Michigan, we have a frost-thaw cycle in the spring, which would definitely put a lot of pressure on those walls and will ultimately make us have to redo this pool, redo the forms, and redo the rebar. So I had to outweigh the cost of what I'm swallowing now for hot water, calcium chloride, but I also had to outweigh the cost of waiting until spring. If I were to wait till spring, I have the opportunity of spending maybe up to $10,000 in extra labor and materials if this concrete pool, or I'm sorry, if these wooden forms collapses. So very, very important to realize you got to outweigh your costs in construction and sometimes bite the bullet. But the main thing I wanted to share with you as a contractor, especially the bigger your operation gets, the more room for error, the more cash reserve you want to have set aside in case you have issues in your business, setbacks, or unknown things like this. One thing I've never considered or really thought was an opportunity to even happen was not being able to get concrete. So you always want to make sure you have yourself covered. You always want to make sure you have yourself a cash reserve cushion because stuff goes wrong, and it goes wrong a lot in construction. You want to make sure you're prepared to have some extra cash on the sidelines. So as you can see, we're shooting the swimming pool. It's turning out really nice. They're working on the shell right now. They'll be done today. When they're done, they're going to be putting blankets on top of it. And what that's going to do, it's going to keep the concrete insulated. It's going to keep some of the warmth from the concrete when it cures inside the blanket so it can cure properly with no mistakes. And then this pool will be done today. And then after that, we're going to backfill around it. We're going to come back in the spring. In the spring, we're going to do tile, coping, plumbing. Next, after that, we got exposed aggregate. Then we're going to do plaster finish, and that pool will be done. Then we'll be doing some landscaping touches, sprinklers, seed, and some beautiful fencing going around this entire project for safety. Can't wait to show it to you when it's done. I hope you got some value from this YouTube video. I wanted to share with you this tip and trick that has helped me grow my business successfully. If you enjoyed this, hit this link and make sure you hit the subscribe link because I'm going to give you some other killer information that has helped me grow my business successfully so you can implement in your business and get deals like this and operate a more smooth business. Thanks so much for watching. Hit the link. Thanks.